Hey there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesigns, and today I thought we would do a color along in Coloring with Your Octopus by Brian Kessinger. And I am doing a buddy color with Jolanda of, I want to make sure I get her name right, Coloring Biker Mama. I'm always mixing that up. But she has a new channel on YouTube, so I encourage you to check her out. And Sherry Denowitz, and she is on the Instagram. And so I'll have a link to both of those ladies' channels below. And then in my finished pages, we will I will showcase everyone's, and on Instagram I will. But today I thought we would do this page, or, well, I guess they picked out this page, which, how can you go wrong in this book? It's just so fun. So I'm going to be coloring this little guy, and I thought I would be using, I think I'm going to use some Neocolor 2s to at least base it. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in with some, this is my thoughts right now, kind of a red-orange octopus, kind of a more traditional parrot with the red, blue, green, and yellow here. And then maybe some beige browns for her outfit, and some browns, and then of course gold for all the shiny gold, and you know, a traditional map, maybe some sand here, and a little bit of sky colors. I haven't quite decided. I think I'm going to let that kind of evolve as we go. So I'll probably start with our little octopus here, and then keep moving out and just see how we go. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to start with, what is this, pale yellow. And I'm just going to kind of go in and put in a little bit of kind of the highlights here, where I think I want a little lighter color. This octopus is going to be essentially orange, but there is going to be some yellows and some reds. So I'm just putting these in, just kind of laying them in. We can go over any of these with other colors if we so choose, but it's really hard to put lighter colors back in. So sometimes I like to lay this in to where I know what I'm looking at, as a guide, so to speak. Maybe a little bit here. Okay, the next color I'm going to go in is Canary Yellow. And I'm just laying it alongside of that pale yellow. And I don't need a lot of this color. It's just going to help me kind of blend out, especially in these bigger areas. We want a nice blend. And always you can use as much or as little of these colors as you want. Next up is orange. Like I said, essentially the octopus is going to be orange. So in a lot of these areas, I won't even put in the reds. Now, one of the nice things about the Neo colors is you don't have to be precious with your strokes. If you get a little, like here I'm a little scribbly, that's okay. And see, I decided I didn't want quite as much of a highlight there, so I can go in with this orange and just go over it a little. Now you can also do it later when it dries. What you don't want to do is do your first round, and while it's still damp, add more color. Because once the paper is wet, that's when the bleeding starts. So you want to do light layers with a light water or alcohol or blending medium, whatever you're doing, and then go in and add your next layer once it is completely dry. Okay, next up is Flame Red. Now we could have went about this from the opposite direction. We could have started with our darker colors, and sometimes I do that. There is no right or wrong way. Each picture I do a little differently, just depending on how I'm feeling. I'm going to keep this area light. Probably should have put in some of that yellow. So even though I've already went all the way to the edge with this orange, I can still put in the red. So I haven't limited myself like with pencils, or unlike with pencils where you have to be a little more careful, right? Because depending on the pencils you're using, the number of layers can make a big difference. Now I'm starting this color along by chatting with you guys. I may go to a voiceover later because it's easier for me. We'll see how it goes. This is Vermilion. So I'm starting in with my reds. And I'm just going along the sides. I'm leaving the highlight here in the middle. So this is, think of this as where you might see the shadows. I'm using red for my shadows. So right here where it kind of dips into the sand, right, would be a little darker. Maybe back here along this edge. Want to be careful, try not to do what I did and get it in the middle or in the sky, because our sky is going to be probably not red. Though maybe, we'll see. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my reds. I was going to use, let's see, this would be next, Light Cad Red, but I think I'm going to go straight to the Scarlet. And I'm using this just in the darkest areas here. You know, where things are kind of tucked back a little. Oh, it looks like I kind of forgot this little tentacle here. See how it doesn't really matter? Like, we can add our orange in later. These animals are going to have variances in color, so you don't have to be like freaked out if maybe you missed a color, or you know, you can always add it later, or like I said, there's variances in color, so it's okay. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my deepest tone, which is alizarin crimson. And this one I'm not going to add a lot. I'm just going to add it here in the corner, kind of here in the, where this is really bent over here. Maybe right here around the eyes. This corner. See how this is really tucked back in here? Probably not in here. Maybe just a touch right here. See how that's kind of adding a little bit of depth? Maybe just a little in the crook here. And maybe here. Because I'm using this as my shadow. Okay. Let's go ahead now. I am going to use, this is just an empty, like, Copic kind of pen, and I have put alcohol in it. Now I'm going to start with my lightest, and the reason I'm using alcohol is when you use water, you run the risk of bleeding through. This is pretty thin paper, so I really don't want to take a risk, so I'm going to use the alcohol. So I'm starting with my lightest, and I'm just blending into this yellow and kind of smoothing it out as I go. Now, even though it's alcohol, it will bleed through if you get it too saturated, so you want to keep moving. Now I want to be careful. Once I see how I got orange on there, I don't want to go back into here now. So I want to keep working in this yellow and then working my way out. And then once I get into here, before I go back into this yellow, we want to kind of just tap off a little bit. Just make sure we're not spreading color where we don't want it. And we can fix a lot of this with pencil, so don't worry too much. You'll find that it will blend easier with water, and you'll get a little bit more of a watercolor look, whereas this will be more of a, I don't know, maybe almost like a marker look, which I'm okay with. Now as I tap off, see, and I'm going to try and smooth that out a little bit. Once again, I can do a lot of this with my pencils, but why not make it a little easier for myself here? But just make sure you're tapping off. See, I got a little red there. That's okay. It's okay. You want to pay attention to that, but we're not freaking out if we do it. Everything can be fixed, guys. Everything can be fixed. I also like that when I'm using this, I have, you know, a point that I can really get into these small areas here. When you work on these light yellow areas, don't be freaked out if they look kind of gray. That's just the alcohol, and it evaporates and goes away, and you won't get that kind of grayed look. Do you see what I'm talking about? See, I'm kind of blending that out a little. And so like here where I went out of the lines, you might be tempted not to activate it because you think it's a boo-boo. But if you don't, what will happen is when you go to do your sky or your sand, you will activate it then, and it'll blend into your other color there. So you might as well activate it, and then you can work on deciding if and how you're going to cover it up or work around it. But it's better to do it when you can control it than when it's like, oh, surprise. So what you want to do is go back and look for any kind of white spots or anything that looks like it wasn't activated. And bear in mind, these octopus, you know, they have dots and spots. So let's say you make a big boo-boo, like here, you know, I kind of got too much red. It's okay. We can add dots, we can add spots, we can make our octopus overall darker if we want. There's a lot of things you can do to fix little errors. And sometimes when you fix them, you're like, oh, I like that even better. So don't be afraid to do that. You can't be afraid of making mistakes because that's how we learn, that's how we grow. And if we're not making mistakes, then we're not taking any chances. And if we're not taking any chances, all of our pictures are going to look exactly the same 5 years from now as they do right now. Which, maybe you're okay with that. I'd like to see my coloring evolve, and I like to see what I thought was cool sometimes. Later on, I'm like, I don't know if I like that look anymore. See, I got a little touch of that red right there. That's okay. You can always go in, and if you're worried about it, you can put in your yellow first, and then activate it, let it dry completely, and then add your next color. That's certainly an option. So when you lay your Neo Color 2s down, you want enough color, especially if you're using water. If you don't lay down enough pigment, the water will just be on the paper and you will definitely get bleed through. So think of the pigment as kind of acting as a barrier to bleeding through. Now that's not to say that if you lay down a ton that it won't bleed through. It's always all about the water. But that being said, you definitely want enough pigment to get a nice even coverage, and it will help with the bleed through. So I kind of look at it like I'm coloring with a crayon. You don't have to get every millisecond of it like you might with a crayon, but you want to cover it. You want to color it for sure. See, I had enough color there to kind of get in there. Okay, just for fun, let's take a look. And you can see, well, no, you can't because I'm an idiot. You can see there's no bleed through at all. Now, looking at this, you know, we could go in, we have options here. It's already dry. That's the really nice thing about using alcohol. But I can go in and say, okay, where do I want some darker color? What color do I want these little tentacles? What color do I want his eyes? That kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to go in with alizarin crimson, which was my darkest color. And I just want to darken up just certain areas. Now you can sharpen these, you guys. I know everyone gets freaked out because they're expensive. Guys, I've had mine for literally years. And you just don't go through them. So don't be so precious that your art suffers. I would recommend, you know, if you're doing an area that you really need a sharp point, sharpen them. You can always sharpen them into a watercolor palette, and the little shavings you can wet down and use as a paint. So that's always an option. Now this piece right here is a key, so I kind of went over that, so I'm going to try not to do that again. Okay, and then we're going to just kind of go through our colors here and blend out a little bit. This one is that light cad red that we didn't use last time. So I'll go ahead and use that a little bit. Now, depending on how red you want your octopus to be is, you know, how much of this you want to use and how deep you want to go into the octopus, so to speak. Okay, so next I'm gonna go to Flame Red. I'm gonna go right up next to that red that I just laid down. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that. I just missed it when we did the last one. Okay, so this is Flame Red. So truth be told, Flame Red's probably the overall color I want my octopus to, like if you look at it at a glance. The yellow should be a highlight, the red should be a shadow. Does that make sense? Okay, next up is, and I just have a piece of paper, like cardstock behind this, just in casesies. Okay, so this is orange. Feel free to be a little methodical about this. You know me, I'm kind of impatient and all over the place. Now, I got a little bit of red, so I'm just going to wipe that off a little bit. There must have been like a little crumb or something that I picked up there, and that's okay. Just kind of basically going in reverse to what we did the first time, adding in one more layer. You don't have to do this. You could do this with pencil. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my yellow. This is canary yellow. The more colors you use, the better your blends will be. Okay, and last, just a little bit of this canary yellow, or what is this? Pale yellow. Pale yellow. The last one was canary yellow. So at this point, you should have colored all of your octopus in one of those colors. I'm not afraid of going over the other ones. The other colors I've added, I guess. Be careful, you will start to pick some up on your hand, so periodically just make sure you're not rubbing it off on anything else. I need a little bit the brighter yellow there. And then I am going to take flame red to that area. Okay, and then we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to make sure we don't have any color, and then go into our light areas and just keep blending it out. As you go into a new area, blend that back into the color next to it. By this time, you should really have a nice layer of color, to the point where if you didn't want to use pencils, you wouldn't have to. See how I'm blending the orange back into the red? If I blend this red out into the orange, it's going to bring that red into the orange, which you might want. Just be aware. See how I got a little streak? Sometimes you can get it with your finger, sometimes you can't. But just keep blending it. See, I just blended it all the way out. Got a little red in there. Just blend it out. Just keep moving it. Not too worried about these little tentacles. I think I'm going to use like a pink on them. So I'm not too worried if I get a little red in there or orange. Because once again, it'll just change the pink slightly and that'll be okay. So how's everyone's summer going? For those of you that have been on the channel before, I just got back from a cruise. That was an adventure. We had 14 people of lots of different ages. The youngest being, 18, 20 months old, and the oldest, I don't know, late 50s, early 60s, and then some 30-year-olds and a 9-year-old. It was quite the adventure trying to do things as a group with so many different ages. We went to the Bahamas, which for those of you that live in humidity, I have no idea how you do it. I have no idea. I would walk outside and just immediately start to sweat and feel like I needed a shower. And you're probably laughing, but I probably just was getting way too much oxygen. Is that even a thing? I live about a mile above sea level, and so I'm used to not a lot of air. And so you get down there, and there were literally times when I felt almost like I was suffocating. And so I don't know if it was the heat or the humidity or the air or a combination. But yeah, you guys are safe from me moving to your state. I will say my skin is dewy and soft, which I do like that part, but at what cost? I don't know. Do you ever acclimate to that? I guess you must, because I know people that move here kind of complain about how dry it is and how dry their skin is, and how they always have to put on lotion. I don't use a lot of lotion, so maybe I've just acclimated over my lifetime. I don't know. It probably is a lot of what you're used to. But there were some cool shows and really good music on the boat. The food was amazing. So that was kind of cool. It was definitely something I'm glad I did. Did I immediately want to book another cruise? No, not really. But I will say, I think that, I know that if I would have went with my husband, it would have been a completely different cruise than it was with a big group. So there's that. All right, back to the page. Canary yellow. I think I'm going to go in with some canary yellow on his eyeballs. Let's start with that, and then we might add some other colors. Yeah, I kind of like that. The best part about alcohol, completely dry already, so I can go in. If you're using water, do not immediately go back in and do this. This is what causes problems. If you're using alcohol or blending solution, you can move quickly this way. If you're using the water, I recommend that you just move on to another part of the picture and then come back. So I'm just doing a little bit of this orange. Did I tell you? Orange and flame red. So sorry about that. Okay. Okay, next time I'm going to use a little bit of this salmon pink. I could have used this pink. I could have even used like a pink like this, but I think this salmon pink is kind of nice. So what I'm going to do is go in to these tentacle, the suckers. I guess these are the tentacles, so I'm just going to call these the little suckers. So we're going to put some pink in there, or the salmon pink in there. Now see how I'm going over the black? That's okay, because what I think I'm going to do is I will use like a Sharpie pen or something at the end and bring back the black at the end, at the very, very end. Did I get them all? Nope, see, I knew myself. I always forget some. See, I'm getting better as you learn yourself. Ha! Right, Wendy. Okay. Back with my alcohol. Make sure I don't have any color, which I did. which wouldn't have been a huge deal, but just as like good practice, it's a good practice to get into, because sometimes that will really bite you in the butt if you don't get in that habit. Oh yeah, see, I missed those. Where were they? Which ones? Where did I miss them? Oh. Was it these? Oh. Oh, you guys. I'm tired. I gotta say, I'm tired. Did I miss those? I don't know. Did I miss these? Possibly. Will it matter? Probably not. Yeah, I'm kind of exhausted. I picked up a little bit of a bug right before I left, which was kind of poopy. And then, so I had like, kind of like a head cold when I first started the trip. Not like sick, but just, you know, kind of not 100%. And then on the trip, I picked up, like on the way home, maybe I ate something, I'm not sure. But it was, I picked up like a little bit of a stomach bug. And I never get sick, so I'm annoyed. But anyway, we're on the mend. We're on the mend. I think a lot of it is being really tired. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do for the octopus at this point. I'm just going to keep moving throughout the picture, and then I will decide when I'm done, do I want to go in with some pencils. I don't think it looks awful. There are some blending things that I think could be improved, but, you know, like I said, let's see at the end, shall we? Okay, next up is our parrot, and we're going to use a lot of the same colors that we did before. This is alizarin crimson, just a little touch of that there, and then scarlet. Okay, and then we're going to go in with grass green. We're going to do a little bit of green here. Now, this green is super bright, right? And so what I'm going to, oh, you know what I'm going to do? This, so here's my, I tend to have one of these for all the family, color families, just so I don't have to wipe them quite as well. I'm going to go ahead and activate my red. Okay. Now next up, you see how bright this green is? Right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add a little bit of this moss green, and we're going to take the green out here, and we're going to cover up the grass green. Now what that's going to do is it's going to make it more muted. That bright green will still show through, but not quite as in your face. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to use this green, olive, just to mute it down a little bit more. Because I just don't like that in your face green. It's so green. Okay, next up is turquoise blue. We're gonna get the head here. And then this piece I'm going to leave white. And then this will be yellow. But I want this to kind of go down his back a little bit and blend just a touch into his wings here. Okay. Next up is cobalt blue. And I'm going to put this all over his wings here. And I'm going to add just I'm going to make this one kind of a little bit lighter. Just for contrast. Just for interest, right? Maybe a little bit of that light right here. This is where sharpening would help. Am I going to do that? Well, you know me, I'm kind of lazy. Okay, next up is blue, just blue. We're going to go in down here at the bottom, add some blue. And then this is night blue. So just in our deepest shadows, right? So maybe along the bottom. Now we're going to go in and starting with our light, and just activate. Now see, I got into these darker colors, so I got to be careful going out unless I want more of that dark color, little streaks of it, right? Okay. Make sure everything's activated. All right. Next step is along his breast. So we're going to go in with our canary yellow. And this is going to be this piece. And a little bit into the breast there. And then we're going to go in with our orange. So these are the same colors we used in our octopus. And that's going to help unify our page a little. And then vermilion. Scarlet. Where's Scarlet? Here it is. Scarlet. And then our darkest, which is our alizarin crimson. Right. Okay. Now we go in and we're going to activate. I need to label these. That'd be helpful. So we're going to do all of our yellow, and then as we move in to our orange. Okay. Okay, next up is our gray. We're just gonna put this here on his little beak. And I'm just gonna use my blue one. Okay. Let's put a little bit of orange. I'm just gonna pick it up off my thing here. Just a little bit of yellow. Okay, get that blended a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's tackle our shovel. I'm going to go in with 42, or not 42, because yours aren't labeled the way mine are, light gray. And I'm just going to put in a little highlight here, right? And then I'm going to go in with my gray. All right. And here we go, starting at our lightest as always. And I wipe that off because I really don't want to lighten up this gray. I want there to be a little bit of a starker contrast there, just to depict the highlight. So I'm going to go in with my dark. I will say it works a lot better with water when you take it off the edge, but you can make it work, you know. Okay. Okay. I am back. I'm going to back out just a touch so you can see the whole page. One of the things that I'm leaning towards is creating kind of a circle type effect for this paper. Meaning, I'm not going to take my sand all the way to the edge, right? I'm going to try and keep it like just here and up here and have it kind of fade into the background. Does that make sense? Also, where the hole is, we're going to be using a darker color, so I'm probably just going to use the raw sienna by itself. So let's kind of get started. So I'm going to start up here with our little boulders or clumps of sand here. So I'm just doing a light layer. And I'm going to work in small segments just to see how I'm liking it, and if I need to change my technique, then I won't have my whole paper with a bad technique. Does that make sense? Now you can use the tip, I'm going to use the bigger end since we're going over a bigger area. If you notice, I didn't get all of the area covered. Okay, I'm going to let that dry and then we'll move on. Or we'll do another layer. So in here, I feel like this is all sand. This is all sand. I'm being a little heavier handed here. This is the center of the page. Now this is just going to be my base layer. So here, I want this area to be darker in this hole and leaning out a little. And so I'm just adding a little bit here and there. All right, let's take a look at how that works out. Kind of making swirling motions just to try and blend in my dark there so I don't get lines of color. I don't mind variance of color because we want that. Sand is definitely a variety of colors, so I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want lines. And I'm liking how this is turning out. What do you guys think? Now to me, this is going to definitely be darker, so I'll do another layer in there. Let's try another layer of this. We may even step it up to another layer or another color to get a little darker. Let's try that. What do you think? I'm liking that. Okay, so I'm going to go over this area again. Be a little heavier handed here. Now keeping in mind my little circle, I really don't want to draw it, but I have it kind of pictured in my mind, how far out I want it to go, right? Kind of like this. We definitely want it to include this. So it's going to be a little bit of a, kind of an oval. So I'm feeling more comfortable, so I'm going over all the areas. So here, we're going to come out here a little. See how I kind of got my oval going here? Okay. And then in here, it'll definitely be a little darker down here. We'll add in this for a little bit of shading. Right? sure I'm in camera. Okay. Make sure you scoot your paper over, otherwise you'll get a hard line. Now I don't necessarily want like a hard line here I want it to kind of fade out. And I haven't decided if I'm going to add some water in the background. I'm considering it. We'll see. Okay. Just add in a little bit of color. Okay. Go in, we'll start on one end, work our way across. So as I go out, I'll let that color fade. See, there should be hardly any color here. Do you like this kind of tutorial or color along where I'm chatting, and I feel like what happens is then I kind of don't talk as much, and I know a lot of you guys just listen and color along with something else, and so I don't know how that works if I'm not chatting all the time. I like to kind of do a mix, that way the people that like it one way get a few, and people that like it the other way get a few. I aim to please. But let me know in the comments, because I don't do a lot of these. Just simply because sometimes I have trouble working this way. Talking and working isn't... if I was just coloring for funsies, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. But when I'm trying to tell you why I'm doing certain things, and I'm thinking through steps, and I'm trying not to jump all over the page, because I have a really bad tendency to do that. I try and rein that in when I do color along so that I don't make y'all crazy. So I don't do a lot of these where I chat while I talk. I do know a lot of people have requested, well, just show the entire thing, because I know some artists or colorists don't. They go, okay, I'm going to color this tentacle, and then they don't show you how they do the rest of it. I always try and show you everything, even if I speed it up a little. These also tend to be longer because I don't speed them up at all. I think that is a little bit of sand too. I'm going to make it sand. We'll see. Okay. We're definitely going to do more details with our sand with colored pencils, or maybe even needle colored tools, but we're going to add more variety. But this is, I just wanted the base layer to see, you know, as I put in colors, what I'm working with. Okay, let's start working on our treasure chest. I'm going to go in with raw sienna. Not doing all of it. I'm going to put a little bit of this flesh, or what did they call it? Desert Rose? Was that the other name? I think that was what I saw. And then burnt umber. Okay, let's see how that works. Once again, this is all just our base layers. We can go back in with pencils, with more neo colors. To add some detail and, you know, really bring the picture to life, right? Or we can just leave it like this. I mean, if we like it, right? Nothing says you have to do more. Okay, I kind of like that. Now this part, we're going to decide, do we want to do like a black or a silver or a gold? What are we going to do? This one, I'm going to do a little more dark. So this is that burnt umber. I'm going to do quite a bit more of it. And a little bit, just to bring in the yellowish tones here. This is raw sienna. Okay. See how much darker this one is? Just added more of that burnt umber. But I like that they have the overall same tones. Now, if you didn't want these colors to blend so much, do one layer with one color, let it dry, and then go in and do your second layer, right? But I'm okay with the blended tones. Alright, let's make sure we're on camera. I am going to bring in another brown. Let's see. I think maybe this redder brown. Okay, so this is Toledo brown. And I think I'm going to do this one by itself. So this, I think, is part of it. Yeah, that's the end, and then that's sky. So I think we're done there. And I'll probably go in with like some black here for streaks. There we go. Okay. This one I'm going to do lighter. So I'm going to do quite a bit of this color. And then a little, oh, that's that flesh color. And then here's our raw sienna. So I was just using the dark, so we want to make sure our tip is clean. Okay, and then maybe this raw sienna here. With a little bit of that burnt umber. I had a little bit of light on there, but it doesn't matter because I'm going over darker colors. Okay. So I think I'm going to go in and do my, let's do the shovel here. Just like this one, we're going to go in with our light gray. And then our regular gray. Okay. We can always add our white highlights at the end. right? Okay. Okay, this is raw sienna. So I'm going to get this little piece here that I guess is a part of the box. And then I'm going to go in with, okay, let's go in with this orangish yellow. We're going to do a light layer here. I think this will make kind of a nice gold color. I haven't decided if I want to add some metallics to this stuff. You know, like on, you know, the side pieces, the little dots. I think that might be kind of fun. So potentially, I think I'm going to make these jewels, maybe this green color here, just to add a little green in. Let's do all of this gold. I wish we were live so I could ask you guys what you think, if we should do metallics or not. Okay, next up we're going to use moss green, which is one of the greens we used here. And I'm going to do her pants. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because I think that's where I end up getting out of bounds. I think this part of her shirt, okay. I think I'm going to use, get all of my brown off of there. I'm kind of going in the direction that maybe pleats would go in. That way if I leave any streaks, it'll kind of look that way, if that makes sense. We can always add more, so don't worry, like, if you get an area that's too light. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go in with raw umber now. I'm going to add a little bit of shading, just where there'd be some creases. Now, I am not a professional when it comes to this, so I just do whatever I like, really. This just kind of softens it a little bit. Now you could do this with colored pencil. You don't have to do it at all. You can even leave your nail color too if you want. I just think it adds a little bit of interest. I might add just a little more of this moss green in certain places. Okay. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and do her face. I'm going to go in and add this flesh to her bosom, her neck, her ear, her face. Now, you can decide what you want here. I read this as a shirt and then like an arm guard kind of thing here. This is part of her shirt, I think, and then she has the bare legs. But you could definitely make her arms bare. Now, before I blend this, I am going to, I think I'm going to add a little bit of a pink color. Maybe even this salmon pink. Just to kind of give it a pinker tone. Because I feel like this is just a little too yellowy. but I didn't do it everywhere. So let's take a look. Now we got to be really careful because we're doing her face, we want to make sure we absolutely don't have any other color when we blend here. I like that salmon pink with it. I think it adds, makes it look a little more skin tone, a little less sand. And I think once we add all the details to the sand, like right now it kind of is blendy, but I think once we get the rest of the sand in, meaning the dots and the pebbles and the variance in color, I think we won't have a problem with that. So let's get a little bit of this on our hand there. Get a little pink in there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go with beige for her shirt. Yeah. And then this will be the arm guard, but I think this would be beige. We're gonna go with burnt umber for her belt here, and for her guard here. That's that same color, burnt umber for the belt. Okay, this is raw sienna. Okay, this is burnt umber again. I just want this a little darker. This is raw sienna. And a little bit of that flesh desert rose color. Okay, moss green for the bandana. And burnt umber for the glasses here. And I think I'm going to use that light gray here on the actual glasses. Okay, I'm going to go in with orangish yellow. And this is going to be kind of the overall base color. Okay, let's let that dry a bit and then we'll come back to it. I want to bring in some of this blue, so I'm thinking that I might do this, her little jacket in blue, like this color blue. So let's go in with cobalt blue. And then this is just blue. So I'm going to kind of go into like this area where to be a little darker, right? Okay, this is night blue. So once again, just where we want some shadows, right? And then let's go in and do our cuff. Okay, so we got light blue here. Yeah. So I want this to be pretty light, so you see how I'm not coloring everything? That way I can kind of spread it. I can always add another layer. Okay. Okay, we're going to let that dry. We're going to go in with raw sienna. And a little bit of that moss green. And a little bit of the light gray. Okay. Okay. Now that water should be dry. So I'm going to put just a little bit. This is turquoise blue. So just for a little variation, we'll put that. All right, y'all, we're going to see if this works. My thought is I'm going to draw kind of like a hypothetical line, like right here, that's going to be our water line. So everything down here is going to be like this turquoise blue, like turquoisey colors, and then the sky is going to be blue. So I just have my hypothetical line here. Now the key to this should be we need it to be straight. Okay. So is that straight? Well, there's always that, huh? All right. Okay. Now I'm doing a really light layer here. We'll add in some more turquoisey colors. So then we're going to go in with this one. This is turquoise green, just a little bit darker. We're not going to go all the way to the bottom, and not all the way to the top. This kind of the mid-tone. Right? We'll blend that in a little. Okay, and then we have this one. This is our darkest one, Azurite Blue. So, a little bit here, a little bit here, there. I don't want a lot of this. Okay. I am going to put a little bit of white down here. And a little bit of this jade green. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can make this work. I'm gonna put some white down, kind of like wispy clouds, right? I'm gonna also put it right at the horizon line. Now keep in mind, I'm only going to come up this far. So, like here I don't want a cloud. So, alright, now we're going to go in with light blue. Now I'm not worried if I go over my white, but I'm not, like, if I can avoid it, I am. Does that make sense? It's hard to see, so if you go over it, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But I'm just hoping that that white will just make it look, add some variance in our sky. Also keep in mind I want it to fade out. So up here I'm going to go real light and a little higher than I am over here. Okay. Let's make sure we have no color. Okay. We're going to start with our lightest. And we might have to do more than one coat because I did such a light yeah, I can tell already. So starting over here. I just don't have enough color down. Once again, it's a lot more forgiving with water, but more likelihood of bleeding. So we'll just put another coat here. Okay. So the white definitely is acting as a resist, which, okay, a little more than I thought it would. So you might want to be a little more careful with your white. Oh, am I supposed to be talking? I'm sorry, y'all. I am so sorry. I get a little focused and forget what I'm doing. I'm not used to doing these live. Well, and it's not even really live, is it? I wish it was live. I wish y'all were talking to me and telling me, do this and don't do that, and giving me advice. Okay. So, what did we learn? Well, we learned that the white definitely acts as a resist, which is good to know. It's not a bad thing, actually. And I think it's going to work out really good for us. Because I'm kind of liking how it turned out. Right? I think this needs to come over here a little bit. So... not sure what to do with this piece. So what do y'all think about this piece? I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. But I made the decision that I think I need to bring my water out to here and have it fade out. So that's what I did. I think that looks better. And potentially even here too, I think, just ever so slightly here. Not a lot. You got to be careful about making up and down lines when you're dealing with sky. Just a little bit of that green. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. I think I'm going to make these bottles green. So I'm going to go in with this jade green for this one. And 23 raw sienna for the cork. Okay, cobalt green. I think I'm gonna go with could I have any more colors out here? Yeah. Let's try this one. Let's try turquoise green. I'm okay with how that changed the color of the bottle, but that's not what I'm looking for. I think I'm gonna have to pull another color. Okay, this one is bluish green. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna do the same thing here. a lot of the dimension and the reflection will be added when we do the white. So I'm not too worried. This is the bluish green. Okay, you guys, we are getting down to some details. So we got to decide what we're going to do. I think I'm going to go in with kind of a dark gray brown and then use gold pearlescent. That's my thought right now. Okay, let's try this. This is sepia. Let's see what we think about that. I kind of like that. We can always go darker. I don't think I want to go black. Kind of like the dark brown. See that little spot right there that I had colored blue, thinking it was like part of the ocean? See how we just covered it up with the sepia? That's why you just don't fret the little stuff. You can almost always fix things. And I'm not worried about going over those little dots because the gold pearlescent, like a gel pen, should go over that. Thinking like a jelly roll maybe. But I'm liking that. I think I'm going to do it on all of them. I think I'll probably go over the gold too with the jelly roll. I like the sepia. I like the brownish gray instead of like a straight black or even like a blue gray. Even though I'm using the same color, sometimes you get a lot of pigment on your pen, and then the alcohol won't flow through. So sometimes you gotta rub it off. Okay, just a few more things and then we're on to the details. What color should we do our little sticks here? I'm thinking wood, so let's go with this burnt umber. Okay, this is that sepia. I decided I wanted that lock the same color. And I think I'm going to go with silver for the actual what's it called? The actual lock itself. Okay. This is raw sienna. And this is just a little bit of orangish yellow. I just wanted a little yellower than our sand. Okay. So I think we're ready for our, well, I guess we gotta do our hat. What color should we do our hat? Maybe, oh, we gotta finish her hair. So this is flame red. And I'm just doing little kind of streaks. And then this is English red. Because I actually want her to be a redhead. With kind of golden highlights, right? Sun-kissed hair. I don't know how this is going to work, doing it with Neo colors. Let's see. So any detail, like if I wanted individual strands, I'm going to need to do that with pencil or marker, you know, like a fine liner. That would work. I'm tempted to make this a Neo color only picture, but I feel like we need a little bit of detail. You guys, I'm so sorry. I just find myself not chatting with you because I just don't do this very often. I'm used to voicing over. So my apologies. I'll try and stick some music or something on when I'm not chatting with you. Maybe you like the silence as opposed to music, I guess. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I think let's get a little bit of our gray. And let's put a little gray in here. So that was raw sienna. I don't know that this is gonna make much of a difference there. Okay, should we do the details? Okay, last up we are going to do the hat. So this is cobalt blue, and then this is blue. And then the night blue is what color? Night blue. We'll put a little of this darker color in here. Okay, and then for this little banner, I'm going to go in with this moss green from her pants. Okay, when we come back, we'll do some details, and then we'll be done. Okay, let's do some details. So I have a Posca pen, and it can be any white pen. This one is the 3mm, just because I'm too lazy to go get my 1mm one. But I also have the 5 jelly roll and the 8 jelly roll in case I need a smaller area. I have my Stabilo 94, 93, 89, 65, 46. I have a Kuretake Zig 005 black. For maybe some of these smaller areas where my Neo colors went, like over right here over the little sucker bits, I am going to use a Link Gold glitter pen. Now, if you don't have this, you can use a jelly roll. You can use any glitter gold pen that you have. I just want a little shimmer and pop here on the gold. I just thought that would be fun. And then I think for like my locks, I'm going to use the Signo Uniball Silver. And then in addition to that, I am going to grab like a brown here I'm going to see what pencils I have close at hand because I don't think it really matters. Just I want a little more depth here, and I really don't want to use fine liners. So grab your stuff and I'll be right back. Okay, so I grabbed goldenrod, light umber, and dark brown out of Prismacolors, and I'm just going to do just a little tiny bit of shading here on our sand. So I'm going to go in with the dark brown. And just down here at the bottom, we just want to just be very light-handed. It's not going to go on like it normally does because the Neo colors, they just create, I won't say like a resist, but it's definitely not the same. But I really am liking that, the difference that it makes, right? Doesn't that look a lot better? And then we can blend it out if we need to. Once again, really light-handed. Maybe coming along the side there. Maybe just a little bit of this light over here, right? And then if you feel the need to smooth it, maybe you got a little line, you can use a little bit of that goldenrod. It's not going to be an exact blend, color match to the color we have. But just tidy up anything. Okay. I think that added a lot. So I'm going to kind of go in and just add a little bit of shading here and there. Where I feel like we might have a little shadow. We'll bring out the artist shadows just a bit. Just emphasize them a little bit. Just for a little visual interest, right? We don't want to do too much, just a touch. We're going to add a little speckles to our sand too for some visual interest. So we definitely don't need to be heavy-handed with this. What do you guys think? Do you think this adds? Do you think we should have left it alone? I was really torn. I thought about just leaving this all Neo color too because I was pretty impressed with the amount of shading that we got with our Neo color 2s. I mean, you could definitely fuss and get a little smoother blend here. And I think that's a personal choice. if you feel like it needs it. I mean, could I do more? Yes. Will I? I don't think so. I don't think everything... I don't know. I like art with a little bit of... I don't know. Like if I wanted a picture, I'd take a picture. Does that make sense? Am I just justifying bad art? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. But you know what? It's all about having fun. Fun, fun, fun. That's what we want, right? Fun. If it's not fun, why are we doing it? I'm having fun. I guess what I'm saying is, where do you draw the line at taking it up a notch, right? And for me, as a channel, I don't want to introduce every medium I have, because then those that are following along and are like, oh, I have neocolors, and then I start adding in, you know, 5 other mediums or pencils you don't have or something like that, you know, then it becomes less fun for the viewer. So that's something I always try and keep in mind. Personally, I like a lot of mixed media, and maybe we can do some mixed media as a channel. Okay. Personally, I think that's probably enough. I am going to add just a little bit of some lines in here. I just felt like, I don't know, I wasn't digging this one. I felt like it needed to look a little more wood-like. Okay, I can live with that. Just a few lines, right? Maybe just a little bit of shadow here. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. And if you don't have Prismacolor, use polychromos. Pick a brown. It doesn't have to be the brown I chose. It can be any brown. Because this is sand, guys. Sand is all different colors. All the beaches of the world have different colored sand. So grab whatever you have. Part of learning and growing as an artist is seeing what someone does and then seeing what you have and kind of adapting to it a little bit. Now, I'm not super crazy about the color of her shirt. So I am going to add just ever so lightly with this light umber. I'm just going to go over it a little bit. Make it a little less taupe. Add a little shading at the same time. Right? I don't know. The neocolors, I love them, but they don't have a lot of like light colors like cream and tan and those kind of colors, which is more what I was looking for. Put just a touch here in her cleavage. I'm not going to do a lot of shading on her face. You definitely could. I think she's whimsical though, And I just feel like she doesn't really need it. She says as she puts a touch in her ankle. Okay. I'm going to call that done. Now I'm going to take I'm just going to pick a color at random, and I'm going to just put a few dots. I'm not really liking how that looks on there. It almost looks red. So I'm going to grab a different color, which is okay. So you want to make your dots as up and down as possible. And I'm not going to put them everywhere. Like, you could dot the entire sand. I'm not going to. I'm going to put them in specific places, like little patches of them, because I feel like doing it all over would be a little too much. But see how that just brings a little life to it without putting it everywhere, right? Okay, now I'm going to take a different color, which is the brown. These are little darker dots. So be careful that you're going up and down. Don't get, don't go so fast that they end up little slashes, because then it kind of ruins the look a little bit. And I don't want to do as many of these because they're darker and they pop out more. Right? And maybe just a little bit of gray. Now, like these little rocks, you could, or pebbles or whatever they are, we could color those if we want to. Okay, so now I'm going to take this black and I'm going to do things like his eye. And just go back over where we went over these black lines. Now I'm using this ultra thin one for these tentacles or the suckers, just because they're so small. But then I'm going to use the Stabilo to go over the other black. You don't have to get everywhere. You just don't want it to be murky, right? Now sometimes your pen might get a little clogged. Just tap it off a little bit. See how you tap it off and it usually starts back up again. I'm going to do this parrot's eye. Look how that brought him to life. It's small. All right, let's go ahead and do our, we're going to do our gold. Make sure my camera. Now I'm kind of doing these in little circles because with jelly pens or with glitter pens, gel pens, sometimes they leave, see how they're kind of leaving marks? So I want those to look circular. So if we're going to leave a mark, we want it circular. Now I'm going to go in with, I think, some green. For some of these bigger things, and I'm going to make them kind of like they're these little jewels. Now I chose this one. If I had to choose a different besides the link, I probably would have went with a sparkle pop because it too has like the, almost like a glitter in it, as opposed to just being that metallic. This has, you know, like glitter. And I'll probably give it another coat. So let's put that aside. Let's do our silver. Our lock here. Now you could make this lock gold if you wanted. I just thought silver would be kind of fun. What I want to do though is I am going to use gold here, and I'll probably use like a Signo gold for that. Okay. So be careful. See, I'm getting gold on my hand because I'm impatient and because I'm an idiot and I didn't work left to right. That would be too easy. Okay, let's let that dry. Shall we? I'm going to get my gold pen. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. I have a Signal Gold. I'm going to do my little rivets in gold. And I'm going to do this key in gold. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to do this button in gold. Now, staying away from where we were trying to dry here. Just want to go over that black. Just feel like it's not, excuse me, it's not popping out. The neo color kind of gave it kind of a hazy look. See how much better that looks? I'm going to go over these eyes. What do you guys think? You think it's worth it? I think it makes a big difference. Kind of brings out some of the details. Gives me a chance to use my fine liners. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. Sorry, I forget to talk. Let's see, what can we chat about? So I mentioned I was on a cruise. Never been on a cruise before. And I don't know, I have, excuse me, I have mixed feelings about it. I had a good time. I think a lot of it was, we had a big variety of ages and 14 people. So it's always hard to coordinate that many people and do things that everybody wants to do and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I would probably consider it again if I was going someplace not humid. Y'all, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I can't remember. The humidity was just... I give you guys a lot of credit that live in areas like that. But, you know, I guess you guys have good weather the rest of the time. Is it always humid or just in the summer? I guess it would always be humid, huh? I'm going to do a little bit here in our parrot. I feel like some of these. Yeah, that kind of helped. Kind of helped a little bit. Should we do these rocks here? I think so. Just makes everything look a little cleaner. I was impressed that on the boat, like, you don't feel the boat at all. Like, personally, I never really felt like I was on a boat. We own a boat, so I'm familiar, and I've been on bigger boats, not quite as big as this one. But there was really no motion. So that was good. Getting to and from the cruise was horrendous. Flights were all delayed by, I think we had well over 10 hours worth of delays. So that was kind of terrible. But in the end, we all got where we needed to be. We got on the cruise. We didn't miss the cruise. We didn't miss any flights. It was close. But in the end, it all worked out. I did get a touch of a bug. Kind of this, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's like a head cold with just a touch of a stomach thing. So that wasn't very fun. I wasn't sick I didn't feel good the first day of the cruise. But, no stomach stuff till I got home. So who knows? Maybe it was the fast food I ate when I got home. Because we were starving and it was like 10:30 at night. And they still had to drive me home. So maybe it was that. I don't know. Okay. That's looking a lot better, don't you think? Just those little differences sometimes can make a big difference. I personally think the black really adds a value that makes everything pop. Makes your whites look whiter. I guess we still gotta color that, huh? I think I'm gonna go around these. So is everyone's kids back in school? I think my grandson, I know my grandson started Tuesday, I think, which is weird. I'm not sure why they don't start Monday, but I know some people don't go back until the following week. So I'm not sure how that's all decided. I guess by school district, huh? Okay, so I missed some rivets here, so I'm going to go in, get those. I know you guys are shocked. I missed something. I am so tempted to try and put a little design on on the cuff. You know how they have like the little things? And I'm also tempted to put laces right here. It's just so small, I'm kind of afraid. I think I'm gonna take, what color do we want all of this to be? Our little belts and buckles and whatnot. So torn. So torn. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what I think, but we're gonna try this. I have the bronze Prismacolor pencil, 1028. We can always go over it if we don't like it, right? Gold. I mean, since we have the bling, I guess we should have bling. Okay. So I have a couple of reds here. I'm going to do this little necklace. So that was 40. And then I'm going to use 50 just for a little shading. They're so small. I don't even know that you need it. But you know, why not? Okay. I think it's time to go in. I'm going to use my 8 jelly roll. I have such a love-hate with these. I'm gonna go get my Posca. Okay, I am back. Okay, this is just that dark brown. Just gonna put a little contrast here. And the umber. Okay guys, we did it. What do you think? Let's take a look and see if we can see our sparkly bits. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do the YouTubey things like subscribe, share, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you enjoy adult coloring content, please consider subscribing. You can now find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. I welcome all comments and suggestions. Don't forget to like the video before you go. And until next time, take care.